During a period of drought, a reporter asked a farmer, "Did you receive enough rain this year?" And the farmer said, no, not nearly enough. And after a pause, he added, "And my neighbor received more." The reporter said, "How could that be?" The man said, "Well, he has more land." What his answer illustrates is not his ignorance, but his envy. This morning I invite you to think with me about the 10th commandment. You shall not covet anything that is your neighbor's. You know, we tend to think of the 10 Commandments as onerous demands, but I submit to you that they are gracious gifts. Not obstacles, but signposts that point to a satisfying way of life. And this one is the key to a thankful heart and a generous spirit. Covet. Not a word that we use or hear very often, but a feeling with which we are not unfamiliar. Who among us has not said or thought, "If only I had her job or his salary, if only I had her brains or his breaks, if only I had his health or her personality, if only I had his youth or her looks. If only I had married someone like him or her. If only I had parents like that or children like that." I like the way Charles Osgood once put it, "Everywhere you look, it seems everyone always dreams of getting what he hasn't got and somehow being what he's not. Other people in our eyes always seem the lucky guys. We're the ones whose lot is meaner and over where the grass is greener." Because we are human, we all covet something. Well, if it's just human to want what others have, what's the problem? Isn't it this, that by comparing ourselves to others brings out the best in us? Isn't it the desire to have what others have that motivates us to work hard and drives us to succeed? Surely it's not wrong to have ambition or goals or dreams. But we must distinguish between the normal, healthy desire to get ahead and the disease and sin of covetousness. Yes, we should encourage persons to better themselves because both they and the world will be better as a result. And it would be unconscionable of us who have so much to tell those who have very little that they should not want what we have. But coveting is more than just wanting what others have. It's wanting what really does not belong to us. Coveting is refusing to be satisfied with what we have, even when we have all that we really need. What we're talking about here is what the ancients labeled a malignant passion, hard to cure. Coveting is a subtle, almost a respectable sin that hides behind words like drive and hustle, ambition, get all you can, win big. It's what one person once said in a movie, "Greed is good." Well, no, it's not. It's a sin. And it's caused amazing amounts of human misery. Wanting what rightfully belongs to others can damage a friendship, can wreck a marriage, can destroy a family, can corrupt a nation, can lead to crime, can end in violence. And the Bible is full of examples. Saul, the first king of Israel, was a great man, a brave warrior, a wise leader, a revered figure, but there came a day when people were cheering more for his young protege, David, than for him. He became quite simply and literally insanely jealous. He tried to kill David, and ultimately he took his own life. Or consider the story of David. He too tripped over this commandment. One day he was out on his balcony and he saw a woman by the name of Bathsheba, another man's wife, was bathing, and he lusted for her. Before it was over, he not only broke this commandment, but the 6th and the 7th commandments as well. Or consider one of David's successors, King Ahab, who had palaces and lands and servants galore, but he coveted the vineyard of his neighbor Naboth. He offered to buy it. Naboth wasn't interested in selling. But Jezebel, Ahab's wife, told him not to worry, and she would get it for him. And she did, but not without breaking several of the commandments along the way. You shall not covet is the last of the commandments, but there's a sense in which it's the key to all the rest. This commandment is like the top rung on a ladder. Slip here and you're liable to take quite a fall. Break this one and you're likely to break others on the way down. Because when we covet what is our neighbor's, it's easy to go from feeling, I like what he has, to thinking, you know, he really doesn't deserve it, to concluding, let's see how I can get it from him. That's how crooks convince themselves that they're doing nothing wrong and that they are modern robbers. But God always sends his messengers to say, this is wrong. This is wrong. Through the prophet Nathan, God said to David, it's wrong to covet your neighbor's wife. Through the prophet Elijah, God said to Ahab, it's wrong to covet your neighbor's land. God says to us in our envy, it's wrong to covet anything that is your neighbor's. God gave us this command because God knows that no good ever comes from coveting. And when it comes to this commandment, Jesus shakes hands with Moses. With other commandments, Jesus thought it was necessary to point out their deeper meaning. But with this one, it was enough simply to repeat it, saying, beware of all covetousness. Why? Because covetousness robs us of a thankful heart and a generous spirit. Even if we resist the impulse to act on our feelings of envy, coveting still harms us. How so? It makes us resentful of others. It makes us bitter about the past and unhappy in the present. It raises a barrier between us and our neighbors, and even more importantly, between us and God. Coveting makes us miserable no matter how much we have or how blessed we are. And as the Roman poet Horace put it, tyrants never invented a greater torment than envy. Jesus understood the danger of coveting. A man in the crowd shouted out to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." The man didn't want an arbitrator. Who did that? Who's in charge? Okay, President of the Board of Trustees is on the way, and we'll find out what is the cause of the landfill. Okay. Well, anyway, let's go back. A man in the crowd shouts out to Jesus, "Tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." The man didn't want an arbitrator. He wanted an advocate. He wanted someone to help him get what his brother had that he thought ought to belong to him. He did not want Jesus to be his judge. He wanted Jesus to take his side. And God doesn't take sides. Or if he does, it's on the side of the poor and the oppressed. God wants confessors, not complainers. So Jesus says to him, "Man, who made me a judge or divider over you?" And then turning to the crowd, he says, "Beware of all covetousness." The modern translation says, "Be on your guard against all kinds of greed." Man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. Now, we all know the parable of the prodigal son. It's a great story. And for many of us, it's the most favorite story of all the parables that Jesus ever told. But to the worldly, it's not the favorite story. We may love it, but them not so much. To them, the prodigal is a loser. To them, the father is an old fool. You remember how the story goes. Due to a combination of poor judgment, high living, and hard times, the prodigal is reduced to poverty and forced to go crawling back to his father. The father runs to greet him, throws his arms around him, embraces him, showers him with gifts, slobbers all over him. The worldly would prefer that the story went something like this. In the far country, the prodigal used his share of the inheritance to buy a pig farm. Times were bad and unemployment was high, so folks were willing to work for next to nothing. When a famine arose, the price of pigs shot up. The prodigal became rich, built himself a mansion, expanded his business, enjoyed his life in the far country. And he was so busy getting rich and enjoying the good life that he never went back home, thought about his parents or his inheritance or those in need all around. Come to think of it, Jesus did tell that story. It's about a man whose only goal in life seems to have been to keep piling up more and more and more, and build bigger and bigger barns to store it all in. He had enough to last him a lifetime, probably more than one lifetime. But God said to him, "Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and these things you have prepared, whose will they be?" He ends up in the words of the hymn writer, "Rich in things, but poor in soul. So is he who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God." The message of the 10th commandment, a message that was underlined by Jesus and is the key to happiness and the key to a thankful heart and a generous spirit, is not wanting what others have, but being grateful for how we have been blessed and sharing those blessings with others. In Shakespeare's play, Henry VI, the king at one point is fleeing from his enemies alone and in disguise, and in the woods he meets a stranger, and he tells the stranger that he is the king. And the stranger says to him, "If you are a king, where is your crown?" And Henry says, "My crown is in my heart, not on my head, not decked with diamonds and precious stones, not to be seen. My crown is called contentment, a crown that is seldom kings to enjoy, a crown that those who covet never wear. But if we let the commandments be our guide, if we'll listen to the words and warnings of Jesus, if we'll count our blessings, not envy others, we too can wear that crown, be thankful and generous. Oh Lord, we thank you for the 10th commandment. For it is the key to a thankful heart and a generous spirit.